Okay, it's the brother Sorry back with another quick video. This is over some of this is related to some of the material coming out of True Master. Um, Now this is something that's not necessarily in the book. This is just something that I use from time to time. Um, this is called it's something called a self shrine, right? Now, a self shrine is a special type of shrine for the purpose of being, let's say, like a focal point to go with some of the exercises and things in True Master. If you go back to a video I did, I'm talking about an exercise and mapping the energy where I go over the meaning exercise from the experiential when you're recalling memories and sensations and things, um, trying to triangulate the event to discern the theme and stuff like that. The self shrine is just for a focal point for building structures, planning. Some people work with colors with the self shrine. And let me just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about when I say this. I have a prototype of this. Let's see here. Let's see. Can we find it? Okay, I don't know if you can see it. All right. I know it looks kind of funny, but it's a shrine. It's my picture in the middle. And basically, if you look back at the previous videos that I've done, and I'm talking about the language of the subconscious, as you can see, various tarot cards are around um, the picture of myself in the center. Now, it's a lot of different ways that you can do this. The tarot cards in the picture would serve as like a language of sorts because we all know as far as the divinatory value of tarot cards, but also it's a language expressed in the cards. If you read the cards and everything like that, and you pull the cards consistently, they talk to you. They have a language all in themselves. Astrology has a language all in itself, and the more familiar that you are with the language of each of these different disciplines or whatever case may be, the more you can get out of it and everything like that. So as far as the self shrine, let's say like you have mm, let's say like you have yourself. Mm, okay, so let's say like you have yourself right here. Let's say like you would have um glyphs or whatever kind for whatever effect that you're trying to meditate upon or cultivate or what have you. You see what I'm saying? On that outer layer or what have you. And I know this is very crude. Um, let's say you could also include photographs, let's say, of like your children, family members, or what have you, that may be deceased or may have been influential in your life on the outer part, outside of you. You are always at the center. You see what I'm saying? You are always at the center. You see what I'm saying? So you would be right there. Family members, what have you, deceased ancestors or what have you, deities on the outer layer or whatever case may be. Let's say because the purpose for that, yourself in the center, your family, and then whatever divinity or whatever case may be, because it's a progression. You see what I'm saying? Honoring your family and everything like that. So that's yeah. Just wanted to kind of just kind of lay that out a little bit. Let me see here. Now, another topic I want to go into in this same vein, that's the self shrine. That's what you use as a focal point, or what you can use as a focal point in various different manifestations. Always remember, just put yourself in the center. Because when I talk about the self shrine, I'm talking about the self. Um, it's not necessarily talking about the flesh and blood self. You have a picture of the flesh and blood you, obviously, because it's no, that's the representation that we're kind of dealing with here. At the end of the day, um, you're not dealing with you as a flesh and blood entity. When you say the self, you're talking about one. You see what I'm saying? The only real number is one. Every other number is a multiple of one. You see what I'm saying? So let's see here. You're dealing with that part of yourself that bridges into the omniverse, the vortex into the omniverse type thing or whatever as yourself. You see what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. Okay, so just to go into this a little bit, uh, the spiritual significance of parents. That's another part in this. How I talk about you can include your parents in the self shrine, your children in the self shrine, or whatever the case may be. But you must always be at the center because it's you structuring your life. The experience is personal for you. Everything else is peripheral. You might have had the greatest guru to teach you whatever he taught you or whatever the case may be, but he can't die for you. You see what I'm saying? You gotta die for you. You gotta live for you. You see what I'm saying? So he can be in the peripheral of your self shrine, but it's about you. You see what I'm saying? Okay, and that goes in line with volume one of True Master, self to self. So, okay, so spiritual significance of parents and forgiving parents or what have you. The way I was taught this is that you bridge to, let's say, whatever divine forces that you're trying to get to, you bridge to them, you go through your ancestors first. You see what I'm saying? Because that's your help on the other side, or those are individuals that you built a relationship with in your life or whatever the case may be. So they have some sort of attachment to you in the physical. You're their link to the physical. They're sort of like your link to the spiritual in a sense, and they can access certain things on your behalf or whatever. That's one way of looking at it. Now, I know in modern society or whatever case may be, um, you know, some people have grudges against their parents and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it takes a mature person to actually grow to be able to forgive your parents for whatever perceived wrongs that they did. Let's see here, and I know there's a spectrum of wrongs or what have you that some people may have went through. Okay, um, and I say like this: people are like snowflakes. We don't live in a culture that deals with energy or um, spirituality, right? So our culture don't really deal with that, like energy and spirituality or whatever. In the West, it's more of a religious type of overtone. You see what I'm saying? Um, let's see, whatever energetic combination a person is born with, um, and that might predispose them to certain conditions or certain behaviors or whatever case may be. You can pull a person's natal chart or whatever case may be, and you can pretty much see certain behaviors and things that they may be prone to in their life or what have you. Not saying that they don't have a choice in certain things, they're just more pulled towards certain directions or whatever. So I would say aspect of forgiving your parents, just realizing that they're just another person in this world that didn't have no map. They didn't have they whatever they did, it wasn't specifically directed towards you in most cases. They're just another person trying to live their life and trying to figure this out as best they can. So it's not to absolve them of anything wrong that they may have done, but you got to kind of put on two hats. You got to, okay, whatever they did or whatever you feel like they did, and then you got to put on another hat. It's just like a soul walking into this fleshly experience, and this person is just another soul walking into this fleshly experience with no roadmap. You see what I'm saying? So we just two individuals or whatever. So I don't have to. So you don't be so judgmental over that person or whatever. It's not to absolve them for whatever they may have done or whatever case may be, but it's to make you at least be at peace with them as an individual, as another soul passing through this experience, so you can kind of benefit from you see what I'm saying, this as far as the self shrine, as far as yourself, because making peace with them is a part of making peace with yourself. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's numerous volumes of information talking about this. Let's see here. The highest form of worship is said to be self-worship. The true self is oneness with all. I think we were talking about that before. From a principle, from a practical sense, we know one is the only real number, and every other number is a fraction, multiple, or derivative of the number one. Everything comes out of one. Uh, let's see. Don't ask me what the coming out of the one looks like. You see what I'm saying? That's a whole nother elaborate conversation. But mathematically, we know that everything um, one is the only real number. You can look up the definition of a prime number, all that good stuff like that. Okay, And just to kind of like wrap this up, um, in True Master, we talk about let's say I know in True Master I talk about volume two, the greatest sin being not being prepared. So when I say sin in the sense of True Master, it's not a religious thing. True Master is not a religion, it's a perspective. So when I say sin, I'm not talking about like sin in a religious sense, like you're going to hell or something like that. No, when I say sin, it's something that is a behavioral pattern or some aspect of behavior that begets a adverse experience or adverse result. That's what a sin is in true mastery. So that's just to put it in context. It begets a practical thing. It begets a physical response. So the greatest sin is to not honor self. Okay, why? Not because of any religious, dogmatic, or theological reason, but because it yields tangible adverse results. So in True Master, we examine behavioral patterns. You audit your life. You go back and you think of the different experiences that you may have had or whatever case may be. Okay, how can I um, do this better? And you even do it on a micro level. It may be moments where you freeze up or moments where you're unable to perform or whatever case may be. And it may be triggered by certain things or whatever case may be. It's getting into that, remembering certain things or what have you. So in most of those situations or whatever, when you actually go back and look at some of that stuff, the common thing is not honoring self. You walked into a situation and you devalued yourself, or you didn't honor yourself, or you didn't, you see what I'm saying? It's normally something like that. So that's why we say the greatest sin is to not honor self. It's that big of a deal because your most important relationship is your relationship with yourself. Your relationship with yourself is like right there with is wrapped into your relationship with God. You feel me? Okay, so let's see. Make sure I covered everything. Okay, so there are two types of consequences when we're talking about like a lot of problems being caused from not honoring self. There are two types of consequences: delayed or immediate consequences. Delayed consequences produce a bubble or a false reality which is subject to collapse. Okay, to be real, to be real is something that does not change. You see what I'm saying? So when we say, oh man, such real, such real, okay, such and such does not change, such does not bend as far as um their principles, their structure, of their mindset and how they coming. You see what I'm saying? That's to be real. So that's why we talk about in True Master, principles are things that are real that do not change. Patterns change. Okay, so when auditing and examining patterns, the main source of adverse experiences is typically not honoring self. So in a sense, I am telling you, let's see here, to love everyone as you would love yourself, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. However, there is a spectrum of energy that gives birth to diverse situations. So we must use discernment in all things and qualify who we give our energy to. So basically, if let me see here. In other words, you can't be a pacifist in a world full of killers. You won't last long because there must be a balance. Uh, and there's an appropriate time and place for the expression of the various energies of the spectrum. Have the energies of the spectrum spill forth their influence and create situations and patterns as their expression. So the situations, um, the energy within the spectrum is going to create a situation anyway. You see what I'm saying? It's appropriate time and place for various energies and everything like that. So let me see. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to discuss. But in the sense of like honoring self, um, if you're a pacifist in a world full of killers, that's disrespectful to self because you're putting yourself in danger. So I'll do a whole nother video on the concept of honoring self. But that's pretty much what I have for the day. I want to do a real quick one this morning. Yeah, leave your comments. Thank you.